it goes from very amusing, very high amusing, to very serious. And there's a love part, a very mature kind of love part in which two old friends, Felix and Rosie, the only one that he can really talk to, sort of rediscover some links. But nothing, it doesn't have a happily ever after kind of thing, but it ends satisfactorily.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
I'll just tell you that. I'm not going to tell you anything else.
Will people walk out humming the show tunes? I'm kidding. It's not a musical, I know. But doesn't somebody sing?
No.
Okay. I guess I thought.
Walt does, the Kalamazoo, yes. Walt does, he gets to belt off stage a couple of them.
That must be what I heard about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think I heard that there was some singing involved, yeah.
All those
You can
oldies
call
and
it
goodies.
singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those great oldies and goodies.
Well, it's the big band era. It's the age relative of who Walt and my character is. We're supposed to be, we were in England. We do not speak with an accent.
Okay.
No.
We're speaking proper English. We want to speak our words clearly and distinctly.
Besides, it's very difficult for a complete cast to use the English accent. There are many accents, of course, and so to do it badly is worse than not doing it. And it's done very well. Nobody misses it. The human parts of this play are universal. Well, maybe not in Italy, but
Maybe you've noticed this about accents, because it is true. There's so many different types of British accents, and
Yes.
it wouldn't be so jarring. But when they're from the same family, it would be natural to assume that they'd sort of speak similarly.
But it's also the different education.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
And that's very, very tricky. But interestingly enough, sometimes people think that the kind of Mayfair, as my friend in London says, the cut crystal kind of talking is not necessarily standard. I have a friend who saw some plays at Ashland, and she said, I didn't know that your actors could speak in an English, with an English accent. Well, they weren't speaking with an English accent any more than I am. Just it's precision, it's stage talking, and we don't worry about that.
This is so interesting when you're speaking about this, because I heard Prince William speak on the radio, and I guess it was some polo match or something he was playing, maybe in Southern California. And his voice, it surprised me. I don't know what I expected, but that accent was not at all how I would have expected him to speak. Just looking at a picture and then hearing the voice, it's like, oh wow, that's really a disconnect. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So, and we don't.
And
worry
education does have a lot to do with it.
But why should we worry about whether we're speaking or not in an English accent? Look, we've done Shakespeare, and interestingly enough, the American accent there, according to scholars, is closer to the Elizabethan accent. Anyway, it's more open, it's like the West Country, I go to the forest to kill the deer, And so we don't worry about, Shaw or any of the other plays. We play those great British poems and plays without an accent, and so that's nothing. That's not.
And I think there's
serious.
another dimension to this play, and I know my character plays it, and I know Felix does, and that's kind of the crux of it when it starts. It's about words. The whole
Yes.
thing is about
Yes,
words.
and I like
How
it for
you
that.
say the words, if you have to find the right word, if the right word is really there.
Oh, yeah.
You deal with this every day, Linda. Here you are.
I just came from a 3.5-hour meeting about
Yes.
this. Yes, I can completely relate.
Yes.
But it is interesting because he's a stutterer, so that adds another level
Absolutely.
to the fact that he's sort of has difficulty communicating.
Yes.
And in many families, I think it's pretty common that fathers and sons, don't necessarily or didn't used to communicate very well. And
The linking.
Well, he's a research scholar. So
he's looking for links. And the link in a family, which you've brought up, is a very big point in this. It's looking for links. He's looking for how his mother and father got linked together. He can't understand that. The relationship is cruel for him.
He doesn't have the relationship either because he was sent away to school, like most of them are, who can, at probably 7 years old, and he never really lived at home. except vacations, and so he didn't know his parents like we do here for the
And
most
he
part.
is bright,
Yes, very bright.
very, very bright. He wouldn't be in the position he is at Cambridge if he wasn't bright.
That's true, but he doubts himself, and he's a research fellow and has to deliver papers, and he says to Rosie, I can't do that well, I stutter. Whenever he has pressure, there's stuttering. Now, there's an unreal psychological sound effect that you'll hear in the play, and I do hope you'll be in the audience.
I will
Linda.
be in the audience.
Okay.
Give it away.
She knows half the cast.
No,
come
but
on.
whenever he's in a state of distress or feels great pressure, there is a humming sound, much like the drone of bees. We haven't heard it yet. Billy Cowles is manufacturing it, but
Oh, okay.
it will be like the humming of bees getting louder and louder and uncontrollable and unbearable. And that's a unique kind of thing.
That's interesting.
And initially, when he comes in, he looks at the hive, and the hive glows. Well, these little special effects heighten the drama and the story.
But there was something about bees that was unique to the dead father. And that
He kept bees.
right, but I mean that the mother's not interested, the son's not necessarily interested.
Well, he was in the School of Biology at Cambridge when they met, and he was studying pollination, and that's how he got involved with bees. I found that out reading the script over and over again, and so that's when, by saying those last lines, this is where their connection was. So he came into the theory of the bees and what they did in pollination just by his studies, and so he brought it back to the
But
country.
don't tell how there became
No.
to be a link between.
No, but I just think it's what it is. He was he had bees as a
Yeah.
hobby because it related to his vocation. His avocation and vocation had a link. And not many people have that. They work and they play, and they're two different things. And James Humble had
Actually,
both.
the garden contains bees. There's a very big reason why the author has set this in a garden, and there's a beautiful passage which expresses what goes on in a garden. In a garden, there is pollination, there is blooming, there is dying, wilting and dying, and there's rebirth and regeneration, and so it's the whole life story. A bee represents the whole progression from stages of life to death to rebirth to life. And so it's good that it's set in a garden. And besides, our set is beautiful.
and your name is Flora.
Flora,
That's
flower,
another connection, and that
and
comes
Felix is happy,
Oh,
only he's not.
okay.
So, and then there's George Pye.
Well,
Pye
then
in
there's
the sky.
Rosie, who's the daughter. So there's
Rosie,
another
right.
flower in there. And Mercy, it's such a great name for her because she is merciful. she's
Yes, blessed are the peacemakers. And
Yes, and she's even said that once in rehearsal. She said, "Blessed are the merciful."
Yes, yes. And so, those things are very intellectual and very charming. And it will permeate the audience, the minds of the audience, despite themselves. They'll be thinking about this afterwards.
It probably surprises you every time you do a play what things pop out or the little the happy synchronicities between cast members and things like that. So kind of where are you with that in this play? I mean, what's kind of charmed and surprised you about this cast or this play? Or aren't you there yet? We're still stumbling.
We're still learning lines.
No. Well, they're coming along very well with the lines, and I'm a hard taskmaster, and I don't.
Amen.
And I'd drive them faster if it weren't for the geniality of Carol, who kind of pulls me in. But no, it's not lines at all. It's the relationships that they are forming, and the characters that are emerging. I didn't realize. Now, Robert he started out as our lighting designer, and he's got the lead now, and I think he has developed greatly.
Oh, he's comforting. I love to be with him on stage.
And he's amusing, and he can be arch when he is chiding George and saying, "Oh, George thinks that astrology is the same as astrophysics." And there's a wonderful little sarcastic rejoinder from Felix. "Oh, really? I suppose you're Taurus, aren't you? The bull." You know, and little jives and very arch. Anyway, he handles lots of subtleties. And little by little, there is a passionate scene between him and Rosie, which they haven't yet mastered. But I think they
Well,
probably,
the wife is sitting there
Yeah.
and on the stage.
yeah, we're going to banish her to the balcony.
Really? Yeah. I guess it would be a little difficult to really cut loose with your spouse sitting there, wouldn't it?
No, I don't think so,
No, no.
No.
because you are another person if you are in that moment. And if you're not in that moment, and that's what you hope to have as an actor, is to lose yourself in this other person for that duration.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the interesting thing, I think, is, you know, when a person, well, I'll just say this for myself, watching any of my friends act in plays, watching them over the course of the rehearsals, learning the lines, being in a play, how they sort of, there's like a subtle shift in a person when they're preparing for a play or acting in a play. You really do see that, and I think that's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, you see it happen with your actors. You cast people, and they're sort of all these just characters in street clothes, and then they kind of come together and become these characters, and this sort of little community comes together.
You see some potential in the actors, of course. You say, "Oh, well, Jewel certainly wouldn't be a Mercy type. We wouldn't consider her for the little sad."
Merciful? Maybe not.
No, I mean the little sort of, "I know I'm not a consequential person," she says. Well, you wouldn't cast her. You see these outlines in people, but then they, surprisingly and delightfully, they shape their own character, you know, and it's different from another character in another play.
I think that's the magic of live theater as opposed to television or movies where you see it once it's cut, it's there, it's on film forever. And why you can do Shakespeare in Italy, you can do Shakespeare in McMinnville, Oregon, or in England, and you're going to see something different. It has nothing to do with language or the set. It has to do with the interpretation of whoever. I'm sure you ladies can attest that our Humble Boy is going to be much different than the two you've seen previously.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll be very happy with that.
Yep. Well, exciting.
So maybe we should just kind of do a recap that it will be opening on August 5th, running through.
Well, 3
19th.
weekends. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday matinee at 3. Friday, Saturday, Sunday matinee at 3, second week. And then Friday, Saturday, it's gone forever.
Okay.
And the evening performances are 7:30 now, not 8. We still have a few problems on people coming late to shows because they think it's 8.
I remember being there waiting for wondering why nobody was there in the
Thinking-
foyer.
It's time. Well, I really want to thank you all for being here today and wish you a lot of success with this play. And I know it's coming up quickly, so I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks for
you.
being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're going to help me with the lines, right, Linda?
Sure.
Good.
She's doing well.